All right, we're live. Here we go. Let me post this out to some other spots, and then we'll get started. It'll be 20 seconds, so bear with me here. Excuse me. All right, even less than 20 seconds, something like that. Okay. Welcome back to the big board. It's not often of recent times that I do live streams, in particular with games that I don't know particularly well, although knowing a game has not prevented me from making a lot of mistakes in the past, so I figured why the hell not, why not just dig in and go for it. So we've got where there is Discord, large map, big counters, relatively good looking presentation, lots of bitching and moaning about the map orientation and structure and format and colors and all the rest of it. You know, it works for me. It's working okay. It's not perfect, but it meets the big game format for old people's eyes, and despite some of the fonts that I find annoying, it is a relatively attractive game. So, all that said, and out of the way, we're on the beginning of turn 3. So here's our turn marker up here, turn 3. Before we get started, let's sort of net out where we're at and help you understand what it is you're looking at, so that you may or may not stay for a little bit longer than usual, and then I'll check in with the guys and girls that are the 1.2% of girls that are watching. So where there is Discord is a war in the South Atlantic, or the Falklands War, in other words, Margaret Thatcher's war, what do you want to call it? The war of Argentinian aggression, or anti-imperialist war, or whatever you would like to call it. It's published by Fifth Column Games. My understanding is they are now defunct and out of business. They printed this thing 3 times. Didn't really want to change anything, didn't want to fix anything, and didn't want to deal with any errata or map issues or counter issues. They just reprinted it and said, here, take it. Here's how much it costs. Thanks for playing. So this is 2nd or 3rd edition, I don't recall. It wasn't punched, it is now. And I wasn't gonna share this with you at all. I wasn't gonna do any video at all, but this started talking and said, Kevin, you should embarrass yourself after playing 2 turns of this and show everybody how much you know, or not know, as the case may be. So I figured, what the hell, why not? The challenge that I'm having with the game off the bat, right, is that like many solitaire games, there's and I've got kind of a snotty blocked up nose, had a couple cocktails, and I'm in a relatively high level of discomfort from a number of physical elements, but you're gonna deal with all that or sign out. So we're just gonna kind of grind through this thing together. The game, like many solitaire games, as I was going to say, sometimes drops you out of the theme and the situation and puts you a little bit more than I would want in the role of I'm helping the game play itself. So with all that in mind, I'm going to try and run through a turn, and hopefully nothing that I haven't dealt with before will crop up, so that we don't have to dive into the rule book and bore the crap out of you, right? So, or bore the crap out of you more than you already are. We're going to start from the very, very beginning of turn 3. We're going to have to do weather, then events, and then situation card report. And then we'll go through placing units into the taskforce zone and all that sort of stuff. And we'll deal with all the, here's our taskforce here, our naval patrol boxes, our sea harriers, all in various stages of readiness. And this is going to be our little battle board right here that we're going to use. And I've got my cheat sheet notes here. Look at that. I am going to be pausing. Unlike most of my live plays, I am going to be pausing to take notes for this, because I need to keep track. Since I started doing this, I want to write this up in a somewhat narrative form if something grabs me significantly enough to want to do that. So, excuse me again. Oh my gosh. First thing I'm going to do, I think, is roll a 2d6 for the weather. Got the handy oh, wait, and hey, little shout out. Before we get started, if you're an advanced after combat guild member and attendee of the Advanced After Combat Con, got my 2 coins down. Time to saddle up. All of you guys who are in that little deal know what that means, and we'll just leave it at that. Let's say hi. We got what the hell is going on here? Obviously, we've got some chatty people. Mitchell, what's up, dog? Jason, oh my God, all you idiots are here. John Mag, how are you doing? And Tony. And what are you guys crapping on about? Oh my God, look at all your little comments here. You're just too funny. Fuck. Yeah, Jason's review was something very special here, and I am not trying to replicate that. In fact, I think I've managed to forget most of it. So we'll just see what it was all about. We'll just kind of deal with it and roll on. You can make your own opinions as we go through. So here we go. 2d6, 7, right in the middle of the score. Gray, no effect. So we're gonna. You find the. You grab. There's some shits here somewhere. Gray is not going to have any effects, so we don't really have to worry about it. But let's find the little counter in the big ass box. Misty Gray, here it is. You can't do that with one hand. Fine. Gray. Events. Pull an event card. The event card says, your flight deck has just broken one of my Harriers. Event 27. That doesn't sound particularly good, does it? We get the event book out. And we go to page 27. And shall I read it with my best British accent? Probably not. Okay. The forward elevator damage to HMS Invincible following a heavy landing reduces the operational capability of the carrier. Okay, we can withdraw it for repairs. Carrier and the 2 warships, not submarines or landing craft, are placed on the turn track 1 turn ahead. They can return to normal ops or do nothing. The event card remains face up on the board. For each turn it remains on the board. Every time the player attempts to place a Sea Harrier from the damaged Harrier on cap or scramble. On 1 or 2, Sea Harrier is immediately placed in the flown box. This event may only be discarded if and when you make repairs. Well, fine. The carrier and 2 warships. So what this is doing is degrading the task force strength. So let's go over here and have a look at the... So where is Invincible? Here it is here, and 2 ships. Well, I'll grab this guy, and we'll take a chance and grab this guy. So I'll take these 2 dudes, and they go on the turn track where? 1 turn ahead. Well, that's not too bad. So turn 4. So they go on to turn 4. And what we want to hope for is a quiescent turn. So there's that. That's the event. So that could have been worse. So we put the little event book away, flip the page over on our little list of things to do. We make a note of event 20-something, 27. Event 27. That pounding noise you can hear is my dogs running on the deck upstairs. That goes under here, I guess. And now, SITREP card. Now, the SITREP card, here we have these cards. And it's got a bunch of different data on it. And the question you ask yourself every time is, do I want to pull another SITREP card and decide, change these conditions here? There are conditions that will move you forward in the game, and there are conditions that will move the enemy forward in the game. And there's a fine balance between those things. So they're all in order, and I guess you got to keep playing. So I just keep pulling these things, knowing that it's going to get worse, not better. And indeed, fuck, this has got worse, mildly worse. Okay, so now, so let's compare. We've gone from air alert level 2 to 3. And I'm sorry about the focus if you can't see it. Well, it's kind of tough shit, really, because I can't do much about it. There you go. The Trelu analysis is the same, and the light response is going to be the same. So, but we do have a 0600 hours level 3 alert assessment, whatever that means, and we'll deal with that as we go on. I just keep this here in the middle. But I do have to make a note that it's number 3 and that we're going to be doing alert level 3. So that's going to change. Where is that little thing here? The scramble modifier goes back to 0 for the beginning of the turn. Okay. Now we need to place. That's a setup. We don't need that. Sibra card. Now, I'm leaving my task force as is, right? So there's no point in me changing what's going on here. I've got from my perspective, I have the optimal setup going on for this task force. So why would I rejigger it every turn? The difference is that Invincible's not there, and there are 2 ships short, so we have a gap here, which means there will be no early warning through the defense zones. So I'm going to put up this turn extra air. I think there's a limit to the number of air I can put up, but I am going to put 2 up in the outside defense zone here, and is there I think there's a limit. So hang on just one second. Task force deployment. Reinforcements. I don't get. Let me check. Yeah, there's no reinforcements for the British this turn. I'm going to move this. I'm going to leave the subs. I'm going to put all the subs. We'll come back to the aircraft in a sec. Put all the subs in here because we got into combat here. We sunk a sub last turn. There's a surface group in there. That surface group has potential to scurry through. Ooh, which reminds me, if it did scurry through, do I want to try and... I really need to leave one back, don't I? Just in case I have an opportunity to search, I think. Later on. Okay, task force display. Outer zones. Defense zones, 5 counters. Okay, what else we got here? I'm looking for the cap. Here we go. Cap placement. I need to put. I need to have counters in a ready box, which I do have. I've got a full. 2. Oh no, they're out. Yeah. See, so here's the challenge, right? Let me have a look at this with you. So now that I've pulled the Invincible out, the Invincible is out of the game. I've got guys who, actually they need to be in arming. These guys are in arming from last turn. I've got 1 crew ready. I've got 2 up. I just put 2 up into the defense zone, which is the maximum number that I can put in. And out of zones, there are no restrictions on number of locations, surface vehicles, cap placement. I think I can only do 2 Harriers per zone. It must be from the same carrier. Yeah, okay. So what we want to do is max 2. So what I'm going to do is put 1 into the southeast zone. I'm going to put 2 into the task force zone. So it's going to look like this. Does that follow? You follow? 2 here, 1 here, and then 1 guy, hopefully covering anything nasty that pops up. So. I've just taken a quick look. Seems like you guys are having a fine time chatting amongst yourselves, so I'm going to keep going and keep playing the game and not worry about what you're saying. There's no way for me to know when you actually post a message, so I've got to stop and look. All right, so we've got task forces deployed. We're not trying to do supply interdiction. We're not trying to send any SAS guys out. The Operation Sutton event card has not been played, and it's not that turn, and it's not the San Carlos turn. So now we do the Argentine naval deployment, and we're going to do a submarine deployment roll. We're going to roll 3d4. 1, 2, 3, d4. And put those 2 dice down. Okay. I rolled, here we go. Hey, Tony, I want you to know, buddy, I'm using your dice tray that you gave me. 2 1s are rolled. Subs move to search. God damn it! All right, there's only 1 sub left, but he moves to search. That's like not what we want. That's not good. All right, surface readiness roll, because that means I've got my subs in the wrong spot. Roll a d4 and a d6 and a d8. One of these guys is a d8. And this determines where these patrol groups are by number, where they go. And it's all 1s. And there are no 1s except for the d6, which is 79.3. And they are... That's a dead ship. Where is 79.3? That's 79.1. Where is 79.3? Grasshopper. Oh, here they are. Exclusion zone. Okay. They go to... Coastal. They move back to coastal. I think that's how that works. Okay. Now we move to... So you can see how as an independent game player, that may not have been the most optimal move for the Argentine team. So this is where the human playing or moving crap around for the Argentine player, for the game system, you tend to go, I was already in the exclusion zone. Why wouldn't I try and launch an attack against the task force, or try and engage with the task force, or whatever the case may be, or move to search and whatever. But instead we go back to the coastal for whatever reason. So that's a thing. 79.3, we're going to move that to, I'm just going to put exclusion down here. All right. So now we look at which of the naval patrol boxes have Argentine and British subs, and that's going to be this guy, because I've got, 2 surface groups. These guys, here we go. So here. So the search box has subs, and we're going to go through a sub-combat phase. And this is where I don't know exactly how this part of it works in terms of physical mechanics on the board. But Brits are going first. HMS Spartan is trying to... it's actually down here. It's trying to attack or find or engage with this sub. So we're going to go through the dice rolling mechanic here. British sub search. If contested subs are in the search bucket, which they were, we're going to roll a d8. So grab a d8. And you've got to roll 1s, basically. And that's a 7. So, end of the day, that is nothing happens. So that means we wouldn't put these guys here, and they go back to this box, and that's all that happens in the sub versus sub combat phase. Pretty riveting so far, right? We're really getting engaged in sub combat. Now, the Argentine subs, however, have an opportunity. They, because they're not as smart as the wily British, the underfunded, under technology fed British, they go ahead and they roll the die. Here's a D10. There's so many freaking dice in this game. Check this out, right? There's the dice pile. Why we couldn't just do all this by percentage with 2 dice, I don't know. So I roll a 1. 1s are always good. Wait a second, that's an attack. We need to find it first, don't we? So we found a 1. Yes. So now, with this result, we roll back over to here, and looks like these guys are attacking these guys. Now we go to the attack. Now, unfortunately, poor buggers, they have got to roll another one, because it's roll a d10, the result of a 1, subs hits. Did I roll the right die the last time? It is, in fact, also a d10, so that just happens to be coincidence. So now we will... okay, basically we've got to roll d10 and roll a 4. All right, so what that means, 4 to 7. Sub suffers minor damage but is forced to withdraw for repairs and removed from the game. Domestic opinion falls by 1. And here, in a somewhat similar vein to Empire of the Sun, which I just played today, we're going to move, did I say domestic or international? Domestic opinion falls by 1. So now we've dropped down 2 in the first 3 turns. Political will is the key ingredient in Empire of the Sun. That's how you degrade the U.S. ability and desire to fight the war. Here we have the same situation where as this moves down and as international opinion moves, it will impact your ability to obtain reinforcements and may end up affecting die rolls and things like that. I haven't got to that point where stuff like that happens, but you can see here there's events or actions that occur along the outside of the track as you hit those various points. So we damaged the sub. That means one of the British subs is now out of the game. That's going to be this guy. Boom, he's gone. And I'm going to check something real quick here. There's a little table. Excuse me. Check the table here because we have this little combat chart here. Zoom out a little bit. So we're looking at that's detection rolls, but attack rolls. Yeah. Okay, 4, so that qualified. All right, and 4 here. Argentine vessels versus British vessels. That's not subs though. I think we're good. I think we are, relatively speaking, not screwing it up too badly. So, what I said, suffers minor damage. 2 to 10. Oh. Hold the phone. Roll a d10. If on a 1, the sub is hit, we roll a 4. So a 2 through 10 is a miss. Got it. If I had to roll a 1 here, then we would take a hit, and we would roll a d10 for the political impact. And that would have been, that's where I saw the 4 here. See, it says 4 through 7 here. Sub suffers minor damage. That's what I was looking at there. So that's where that mistake came in. That's why you don't have Black Manhattans when you're trying to play solo with a game that you don't know very well. Okay, British submarine versus Argentinian surface group. We are going to get to do some of that action because I have 2 subs here and 2 groups. So what happens here is I get to roll for each sub rolls against each group. So we're looking for 1s. We want to just know what we're going to roll. We're in coastal, so it's a D4, which I guess it's a 25% chance that we're going to get lucky. So we'll do this. That guy and that guy, right? We're going to do this. That's going to be their die, and we'll roll the dice. and nothing, a 3 and a 4. So no result there, right? So nothing happens. We have big fat nothing. There's a lot of nothingness. So I tick off section H of the game. So you can see how we're kind of going through this mechanical exercise here. Right, now, roll, no, not doing that. Sovereign attack, not doing that. And we're not doing a failed attack because nothing happened. Now, Argentine naval deployment. So now they're going to do their roll against the subs. Oh, but I get to roll twice, right? Because it's each guy against each dude. So I'm going to roll one more time. Oh, fuck. Okay, so 2 ones. So we're just going to, so now, because this guy gets to try for both of these, and this guy gets to try for both of these. So on the first roll, they both missed, and now they both connected. I guess technically it would be like this, perhaps. So these 2 guys are here. Does that make sense? You with me? It's because really this die is for this dude, and this die is for this dude, and they're rolling to hit. And they both missed on the first one, and now they both hit. And so they would hit the first one, I guess. Let's just do that. Whether it's right or not, we're going to do that anyway. So subs versus Argentine surface groups. So now we've got to see what the result is. So these guys go into the bucket. They go down here. These guys go like this. Actually, it's only one guy. So these guys are going to go here. Who's following along? I hope I am. I have no idea how that goes. We'll resolve this attack and then we'll do this attack. All right. Let's see. Sub-search. Roll D10 and compare the result. Oh, that's right. Now we're going to look at the sitrep card. And we've got to look at the... British sub versus surface group. Well, that's rules of engagement. We're not going to have to worry about that. Conduct. One D10 and compare the result to the number of the current sitrep card. If the result is less than or equal to the sitrep number, the attack is authorized for the turn. I have already previously gone through this exercise, and we're good to go as far as combat is concerned, as far as I know. So the British submarine attack roll, I roll a D4, so that's a good thing. D4, result of a 1, I destroy the group and go to political impact. So here we go. I've got another die here. Yeah, let's just roll. You might as well see the roll, just for fun. Roll a 4. I think that's going to be dick, right? 2, 3, 4, attack failed. Go to the subphase D. Failed attack. Check the naval resolution chart. Well, do we really care what it was? Yes, we do. Computer malfunction. Okay. Subs V surface. I'm just making a note here. 4 equals 4. And we go to malfunction. The British can't program apparently. So that kind of sucks. Now we do the next. Well, we're actually going to do the next combat. So he's going to get to go now. And he rolls a 2, and that's also a miss. That's a torpedo malfunction. And the torp fail. And that's going to put them back. So basically these guys all go back to the same box. These guys are now done for the turn. And if you've got questions, I will try and catch up. It depends on the volume of chit-chat that's going on here. Or garbage time, as the case may be. Oh, Kyle Glenlivet, I'm loving it. Hey, John, John, this is rye whiskey with Amaro and Amaro Toscano and 3-to-1. It is a really nice cocktail. It's a Black Manhattan. There are no bells going off here. Okay, so where are we at? I'd never had a black Manhattan before. I had messed around with the, I guess the spread of Italian different mixer from Cinzano through with the bourbon and other drinks just to see what works. And I'd never actually done a pure Amaro and rye cocktail, and it's very silky. So we just finished this combat here, which was a submarine attack roll and a failed attack resolution. Now naval deployment for the Argentinians. Sub deployments, they really they don't have anything going on here. No ones are rolled, so we're gonna roll a one. We're gonna roll for. There's a up here that guy right there. I roll for that guy. He bounced out of the cup. Roll a 2. What's a 2 gonna do? Nothing. He needs a 1. Surface group readiness. Nope. Deployment. We're already deployed. Well, actually, that guy's not. Up there is not deployed. So let's roll for him. 3d6. How does that work? What are we doing here? 3d6 per group. Oh, okay. Looking for ones again. No ones. Sub versus sub combat. I think the only place where that's going to happen. Let me make sure I didn't just get out of sequence here. Yes, I may have. I think I did. Because now it's time for the Argentinian surface group versus the British submarines. Here we go. I'm rolling a. We're in coastal. I'm rolling a d6. I bet you I'm looking for ones. What a surprise! For each Argentinian task group with a British submarine. So I'm looking for 2 and 2. So top guy. Nope. 2 more d6, please. 2 more d6. Next guy. Nope. So, don't find anybody. That means we do not get to do combat. So, now we go to, let's see, that's the end of that phase. Now, that's going to mean that there is no surface group versus submarine. Let me just make sure that's right. Surface battle group. How do I get into this contested zone? Here we go. We're not in that zone yet. I'm trying to get the Argentinian forces to attack the actual task force. So we just finished. Here we go. Here it is. Argentine Navy versus the task force combat phase. British submarines. Surface group and subs. Okay. So, I think what we're doing here is searching. And we're going to do a subs. They're going to do a D10. Looking for ones. And then the different coastal groups. Well, and a D8 for a D8 in the search bucket. So here's a D8. It's a D8, and then I need a D12. Here's where it gets honky. Okay, so it's gonna be 2D12. Nope, this guy's gonna be a D10 as well. See, this is just whack, dog. Oh, here we go. There's only 2 groups in there, so this will do. Looking for ones. I get none. I get no ones. There's the dice. They may roll off there. Well, that was not a 1. Trust me, it was a 7. Enhanced degraded search. None of that counts. Task force defense zone. So we don't have to do anything there. Roll 1d6 for each vessel that was detected. None were detected. So this is basically going to be the end of the turn because we didn't find anybody, I think. Scramble, surveillance, early warning. We don't get to do any of that because we didn't get spotted. There's no subs to air combat, no air to air combat. So until, my understanding here is until I spot the task force, or maybe and you know what, I think I do get to do the Argentinian Air Force targeting. Hang on 1 second. Bear with me here while we look at the sequence of play. Yeah, Mitch, it is a little sweeter. I'm kind of dialing back the Amaro a little bit. It's got a very nice, I would call it almost syrupy texture to it. I've got it on a big rock with a blueberry in there actually. Okay, let me sort this out. I'm getting distracted by cocktail talk. Okay, we did the surface group versus British subs. That's this phase, HI. Now we're on to J. Where's J? FG, MCFG. Yeah, I'm M head air combat. No. I've got a little spreadsheet here that I'm using to keep track of the turn, and I think I got my piece of paper out of order here. Let's just see. H-I-J, here we go. Here it is. H and I. H-I. We did this British sub versus surface group. And I is the Argentinian surface group versus submarine combat. It's pretty riveting stuff right here. And we rolled for those guys and we missed. End of phase. We move to the next phase, which is the Navy versus the task force. Okay. So now we're rolling to spot that stuff, I think. I think I may have made a mistake a little bit earlier on. That's that roll. I just did that roll, so that's J taken care of. And when that doesn't happen, what do? You don't have to do any defense rolls or engagement rolls. We carry on through this. See, this is the thing. I get wrong. You know, maybe it was hard to find these bastards out in a huge ocean, right? Despite all this technology at the time. Battle group. I guess none of this counts. J. Shit. J. Okay, scramble. Yeah, we're not doing any of this. Early warning. There are literally 50 different steps that if we spot this task force here, right? This group of ships is spotted, then we get to get into the scramble, surveillance, and early warning, and then these battle groups that are here. These guys get to launch their missiles, and then we get to send air in. So I think we're looking for Argentinian Air Force now to go and do its targeting. So now we're going to focus on this Air Force here, right? But there's no San Carlos roll, so we're not going to do that. Yes, this is why I don't think we get to do any of this. Air-to-air combat, we're not doing any of that. We're not doing any of this. Yeah. And as far as I can tell, that's the end of the turn. I'm not even sure this is right. Now that I look at it, I think there are steps that we may have skipped because of the awfully convoluted sequence of play here. So let me have a look at this chart with you. Let's see what we did. I'll try and explain what we did. Let's see if we can work it out together. Oh, that's really readable. That's awesome. So right now, we did J, Argentine Navy versus Task Force. No. We did surface group versus subs. Then we tried to spot for them and we failed, so we moved on. We don't do scramble and surveillance and early warning because we didn't do that, I believe. That's section K. And I'm going to look at the rules in a second and double check that. Section 13.9.4 of the rules. So we'll check there. And then the AirForce targeting, that's rule 8. So let me check rule 8 and let's start there. The rule book is well laid out, but it's extremely wordy, and it's just laborious to go through, quite frankly. Let's see here. Recovery, nope, that's not it. Targeting was resolved by rolling a d12. Okay, so this is what we need to do, is roll a d12. Well, I don't believe, okay, so there's a 5, let's keep that. I don't believe we can target until we find the frickin' task force, though, that's the thing. So let's see, we rolled no ones to spot these guys. Navy versus task force, 13.8. 13.8, rule 13.8. Let's double check to make sure we're not screwing the Argentinians out of an ass kicking. 13.5, 13.9. Right. After defending themselves from the subs, Argentine task group subs currently occupying a naval patrol box, which they are, will attempt to detect the task force. Detection is abstracted, blah, blah, blah. They roll. Each Argentine sub and force rolls the dice. So I rolled once. I have, where'd those ships go? I rolled once. So those guys roll. Now I've got 2 more rolls we can make. So that's going to be, he said, deftly picking up the rules out of the way. That will be a submarine rolling. Oh, I rolled a d10 for the sub. I need to roll multiple. No, I did roll for all these guys, right? Because I rolled their different dice for each one, and I rolled them. We missed everything. So, what happens then? Now for each. Yeah, we're not doing any of this shit. So that's the. Let's just check the aircraft. There's got to be something else we do. This is what I'm finding the problem is that it seems to play awfully quickly, and I don't seem to get a lot of action. There's not a lot of action going on here. So, as far as I can tell, if I fail the searches here in this naval patrol box area to find the task force, we're done. Because we don't know where the task force is, then we can't activate the air to go attack it. And we can't determine which direction the enemy's coming from. And we basically skip to, in essence, what ends up being point T, end of turn. And that, fellas, is kind of a turn in this game. I'm going to go back and double check the rules on air doing its own searching. Independent of the naval patrol, maybe there's something there, but I'm not sure that this isn't the full extent of the game experience as we do some naval combat here with subs versus surface fleets, then surface fleets versus subs, and then depending on what happens there, then we go forward and go and try and find where this task force with all of the British troops is situated, right? So it seems like there's an awful lot of comments going on. Well, so Lancer, that's a really good question, and okay. Yeah, well, there is a flow. So let me show you. So I'm using this set of pages here, which is a step-by-step guide through the game, and it's supposed to work. And when I get into trouble, I can then look up the rules. There is a sequence of play, and it's very detailed. So this is, so Mitch, that is the sequence of play right there. But really what you need is this fan-made document that outlines exactly what you do and all the die rolls you make, and whether it's a D10, a D4, a D8, a D6, a D12. Yeesh. So there's that thing. I guess this guy had not heard of 100%, 0 to 100% probabilities. Okay, so I think that is probably it. So Lancer, it is very process driven. I think with the events and the changing situation report stuff, there's potential here to reimagine what happened. Definitely not a simulation. It is a game, so don't go getting your hopes up that you're going to recreate the Falklands War. You're going to try and experience what it might have been like to be the commander of the task force and drive the Navy and the subs and the air and the land forces to meet your objectives and keep the international and domestic will of the people in line, such that you can continue to fight the good fight, as the case may be. So you're certainly not going to get into the detail of ASW actions and air combat and amphibious landings and and all that sort of fun stuff. So anyway, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but maybe that gives you a feel for what the situation is. So I'm gonna call it a night here and rotate over to Bloody Monday by myself and finish up, or start, I should say, start turn 2 over there in the Battle of Borodino. So look forward to sharing some notes on that with you at some point in the future. All the AAC guys, good to see you online, and thanks for chipping in. And everybody else, thanks for joining as well. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao.